Good evening and welcome to another session of Faith Life. I am extremely excited to be joined tonight by my very good friend. I call her my purpose partner and sister Keshelle Davis. Why I'm so excited tonight is because Keshelle has never told me this, and I have just learned as well when we were in discussion that she's about to release tonight something that she's never spoken about before. So it is my prayer tonight during this Faith Life session with Keshelle, and it's entitled Faith and Dreams, that someone grabs their dreams back up and run with it, and someone takes this opportunity to seize this climate, which in this lockdown and quarantine, it doesn't mean that nothing is happening. It means that we are in a good season. It's a season to take control of your dreams, of your aspirations. It's not time to give up. So I am so happy to be joined tonight by Keshelle, and I pray that you receive her with open arms. Make sure I send any questions that you would have. She's going to be excited to answer any questions that you may have. So send them on the screen and we'll be happy to address them. So welcome to Faith Life, and take your eyes on the screen as we welcome Keshelle Davis.
Keshelle Davis, the CEO and founder of the Training Authority, wife to Dr. Glenn Davis, mother to the beautiful Deshelle.com. And I believe in the power of faith. Faith has truly led my life. And it has caused me to do some crazy things in the name of faith. And everything that I've done in the name of faith has worked out. And so I am looking forward to sharing my faith story, sharing my vision story, especially in a time of COVID-19. And I cannot wait to see you and share on Faith Life.
Let's welcome Keshelle Davis. Hello, Keshelle.
Hello, Kriva Kiki.
I know. Welcome to Faith Life.
I'm so happy to be here. Anything to do with faith and dreams. And of course, I commend you as well for the things that you're doing with just helping people to build their faith life. So yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yes, yes. And you know something, Keshelle, this is a new platform to me because I'm used to being on Instagram Live. So this is totally new for me. And, I'm just used to that. It's interactive, but YouTube is just a different platform. But, I
Yeah.
give God thanks because He shifted me from Instagram to YouTube. And I gather that there's a purpose in it. And so I took the assignment on. But you know me, anything with phase two, I end there, and I know that this is indeed a climate where a lot of people have, they've probably taken their dreams and shoved them in the shelf. And I pray tonight that they would take their dreams off the shelf and,
Mhm.
feel empowered to move forward with their dreams. So it's so good to have you, Keshelle. This is like a dream board party, virtual.
Yes.
So Keshelle, we introduced you, but just for those people that may have missed the introduction, I would just like you to just say a little bit about yourself before we get into what we have to say.
Okay, so Keshelle Davis, I am a wife, I am a mother, I am a faith walker. I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I am a businesswoman, educator. My company is called the Training Authority, and the purpose of the Training Authority is to help provide skills for anyone who wants to start, grow, and lead in business. And so we work with startup entrepreneurs all the way up to corporate organizations. And the core of what I do is teach, and I coach, and I mentor, and I consult anyone relating to business and business growth. So that's what I do and who I am
In a nutshell.
in a nutshell.
Yes, yes, yes. And you've been doing well at it, Keshelle. I've known you for many years. and you did not start off being an entrepreneur. I just want, before we get into all the good stuff, I just want people to know where you started from to
Yeah.
where you are now so they can get an understanding of this faith move.
So it's so ironic you asked that question at the start, right? So I started as a single mother, got pregnant at 17. I remember my aunt telling me that I messed up my life. My parents are ministers in the church. I started there, graduated at 16, got pregnant at 17. My first job was a bank teller. And so I started my career in the banking industry, went into the tech industry, and but I always knew worked for Wemco Security. That's
Yes.
been part of my history. Worked for several companies in different capacities, but deep down inside, I knew two things. I knew that I was meant for more. I always
Yes.
felt I had this calling, even though I was told that, getting pregnant young, I had messed up my life, whatever that meant. But I also knew that I was meant for more, and I knew that I wanted to live a life that I dreamt about.
Yes.
Didn't necessarily know what that meant then, but I knew that I had that deep desire in me. And then as time went on, my love for business, entrepreneurship started to develop. I always had a love for teaching. So that was ever in me. My father is a teacher. He ingrained, I guess, that love for teaching and learning at a young age. And then eventually those two worlds merged,
Uh,
teaching, business, and now I run a training organization that is known globally now.
mhm. Yes. Yes. So Keshelle, your story is so beautiful, and many people may not have seen your interview with me. You've done a lot of things in the name of faith, and some really, really crazy things, like
Yeah.
things that will make someone think twice about it. I mean, from taking your last dollar and making an investment with no idea of what would come out of it. Could you
Mhm.
share that story? Because that story is powerful. When
Yeah,
I think
I
you were left with between fixing your car and going to take this trip, could you just
Yeah,
share with
I
the
call it
audience?
the $700 question, right?
Yes.
And the $700 question was, again, my desire was to build a business that gave me freedom, flexibility, and in building that business, anyone can tell you you need faith. And
Yes.
that faith moment at that point, and this was early on in my business career, was I had $700 in my name, and this is growing a business. When I left my good government job, I left to start a business. I left with no money. I had faith, and that's really where my faith journey really began. And so, shortly after, I was faced with a question: do I go and use this $700, that the only thing I have in my name? Do I fix my car, which needed to be fixed at the time, or do I use that to purchase a plane ticket to meet someone that was far miles away who could potentially help me in my business? And usually I like to ask the question, how many of you would do that? That's all you have, cars and working, single mother. Many people would choose to fix their car and feed their family. I chose the faith way, and I paid for that plane ticket, and I went to meet this individual who happened to be Sharon Lecter of Rich Dad Poor Dad, the
Yes.
co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And of course, that one faith move, that one decision really opened so many doors for me in my business that, fast forward almost 10 years later, it's still been one of those pivotal moments in my life and my business.
Wow. I mean, Keisha, when you shared that with me, I was like, I wonder. I mean, I'm a faith walker. I mean, but I was like, I wonder what I would have done. Like, $700, my last $700. I have a child. I'm a single mom. I should fix my car. How am I going to get around? I may take this trip, and what if I don't meet this person? Like, what if what I went to do does not happen? So, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, faith is, it's a risk. It's a risk. But that's faith. I mean, when you go on, like, I think your head, your mind probably was, I'm going to get this done. I'm not going back home unless I get this done. And it's so
Mhm.
amazing because today now, Keshelle, we are seeing the fruit of it. We
Yeah.
are seeing it, and people see you, but they don't understand that you had to do some really crazy things to get where you are. So tonight, Keshelle, I want you to share some of these crazy things. Like you don't have to pop the first one off because I mean I can't wait to hear it. But you don't have to start off with that one. But I can just imagine the crazy faith things that you had to do to get where you are. And I want to hear some of these things because I'm sure we've been together in the dream boards. I'm sure you didn't speak about all. So I want to hear about some of the crazy faith things that you've done and they've worked out.
I think if I were to sum it up, that will lead into, the story that I initially thought of when we talked was a lot of my faith decisions, if I can call them that, had to do with investments in my growth, investments in my business. One of the, even before we get into the investments, leaving a good government job in 2008. Now let's look at this. 2008 was the start of the last recession that we had, right? So we are currently in or going in a recession in 2020. But
Yes.
one of the scariest things that I did was leave my good government job
Mm-hmm.
in 2008 in the height of the recession,
Right.
to start this business that nobody knew about, a new concept as a single mother. That was also a very, very pivotal, I say the word wrong,
Yes.
main moment in my journey.
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of where it all started, right? Making those, it was big, but now looking at it, it was a small move because I've done so many other things since then. And then throughout the journey from that startup entrepreneur to now being a six-figure business owner who gets to travel and meet people around the world, there were a lot of decisions that
Yeah.
tested my faith. A lot of them had to do with when that intersection between the next level that I wanted to go in my life and my business, and it had to do a lot with money and investments.
Wow. So people are coming in, Keshelle. Gia is here. She's saying hello. And Shanae
Hey,
is saying that this is so timely because today she actually took a leap of crazy faith. So
that's
she's
it.
here. Yeah, she's here. And Keisha, while people are coming in, I want to get you to speak on the current situation, the current climate with COVID-19 and people
Mhm.
that have dreams and aspirations and people who believe that this is the end and should I give up? Could you speak to that person or that situation right now for us?
Um, give up to do what? That's really the question. And so, first of all, the feeling of wanting to give up is a normal feeling. Okay, so don't beat yourself up because you feel like giving up. Even me, there are times when I'm like, boy, I'm really done. That's a normal emotion. That's a normal thought. It's what you do with that thought that matters. Okay. And so, don't beat yourself up for having the thought. Reframe that thought and say, okay, if I give up, then what? All right. And then you begin to say, for me, and I love this conversation I have with my husband every time I say I'm done, I'm tired. I have those tantrums as well when
Yeah.
things get difficult because no one is immune to challenges and difficulties in any journey that they're in. It's that question of if I give up, then what? you know
You're right. You're
um,
right.
and so that's the first thing. Two, this moment that we are now in history is one of the greatest opportunities that any individual have, and perhaps will have in a long time, because everyone is now at this foundation of reset almost.
Yes. Yeah.
Even those who are at high levels of business and really high levels of life, they are also looking at their lives and looking and there are things that needs to be reset. and,
Yes.
and whenever there are opportunities for reset, that whenever there are times of reset, that's where opportunity comes up. That's where you get to re-envision, right? Looking at your life and say, okay, now if I didn't have time then, or if I didn't have an opportunity then, now this is the time to make changes, to adjust, to think bigger, to take those leaps, because everyone is at that spot. And if you really make those decisions in faith,
Yes.
you will get on the other side, right? One of the quotes that I absolutely love, it's by John Luke Mercado. I can't remember the exact name, but he said everything works out in the end. If it doesn't work out, it's not the end.
That's so good. Yes, that's
And
good.
that's how I always look at it. Make those faith moves in this ripe season now, with that belief that it will work out.
Yes, yes, yes. Wow. That's so good, Keshelle, because, one of the things, and I think I shared it with you about my daughter, she was just on her way to go to college. And, when this first happened, she was like, Mommy, I think 2020 is done. That was the mindset that she had. She was like, Mommy, I think 2020 is done. I think I'm not going to go to school anymore. Now that I've made up my mind, I found the school that I wanted to go to because, she was waiting. And,
Hmm.
I did not push her. I did not force her. I wanted her to do it. And she was like,
Right.
Mommy, now that I'm ready to go, it's no more. And I told
Yeah.
her, no, it will still happen. It will still happen. Don't throw in the towel. This is not the end. This is just
Yeah.
an opportunity. And so we have to take advantage. Like I was saying, I don't know. Maybe you may do it virtually. I don't know. But do not give up on your dreams. It is not time to give up on your dreams. Those
No.
things will still come to pass.
It's
You
it's
know?
it's it's a time. Listen, it's my playground is business, right?
Yeah.
But it can be translated to any dream that you have. And if you look at where we are now, the greatest opportunities that are out there are business opportunities. Everyone is facing a problem. Everyone in the world is facing a problem at this point, in
Right.
some way, shape, or
Yes.
form, from the low end, economic status to the high end economic status. Okay,
Yes.
um, and if you don't see that as an opportunity to start, grow, build in business, to use this time to position yourself for your next level, or use this time to at least stay still and think about and re-envision what you want your life to be in the next 12 months from here, you would have wasted an opportunity.
Keisha, a lot of universities has opened up their doors because I'm taking advantage of it too. My husband
Yeah,
has just completed a course. My sister has just completed a course. So we are all taking advantage of things that we may not have gotten to do because
yeah.
for some reason, finances or the time. And now the time is available. And like you said, we are in the reset. We are in
Yeah.
the reset. So this is definitely a good climate for people to take that leap of faith and to, surely, but you see the country is opening up slowly
Hmm.
and you do not want to be caught off guard. What do
Yeah.
you think it's going to be like, Keshelle, when it's open again? What are your views on that? I'd like to hear that from you.
I don't know what it's going to be like, because I'm really asking myself that same question. I can tell you what I would love for it to be like. What I would love is more and more individuals to really embrace this season of virtual, right? Virtual living, virtual transactions, to be able to, and I say this because, and that's where the greatest opportunity that I see, because I travel a lot.
Keshelle,
Uh,
can you hear me?
I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yeah.
You're off. Your mic
Ah,
is gone. I want you to keep that thought because I want you to repeat what you were saying.
I don't.
Christoph, I think Keshelle's mic is gone.
Microphone. Is there anything I
Keisha,
need
do
to
you want to
do?
attempt? I can't. No, I still can't hear you. I still can't hear you.
Okay. Let's see. Testing, testing.
Okay. Just
Okay. Okay, you can hear her. Testing, testing. Okay. I don't know.
in.
Okay.
Okay, Keisha,
I think
can you see me, Keisha?
yes.
Well, this is expected. It's gonna be a fight, and we understand that, but that is okay. We're gonna get this out. We're gonna get this out today. But Keisha, just continue for me where you were, please.
Yeah, I was saying, one of the things that I really would love to see, I am also in that phase of wondering how Bahamians will embrace this, what will happen. And I've been having a lot of conversation with leaders over the last few weeks. What I would really love to see is we really embrace this digital era that we're in. Um, and I say that because I travel a lot of them. And as much as I love my country, when I go to these first world countries and everything is digital and, I don't have to, and I come
Yes.
home and I'm like, oh, why? Why can't we fix this? Why have
Yes.
to stand on a line to do X, Y, Z? And I'm really excited to see what COVID has done in that era. And I really hope that coming out of this, we continue on that thing. And I said to a client probably 2 weeks ago that I'm really hoping that we don't get out of this too soon. And it may sound crazy because I want us to get used not to the lockdown, but the way of operating
Yes.
in a digital era,
Yes.
because we are so behind as a country when it comes to this type of operations. And so that's what I would love to see. If nothing else comes out as a country, I believe we're going to bounce back economically. We will. When? I don't know. But from a digital era, I would love to see more and more of what we're doing now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've been thinking a lot. Yeah, I was wondering like what's going to happen with the schools, our grading system, our kids, because right now there are some kids not going online to school. They're seeing it as a holiday. Some
Hmm.
kids don't have the stuff that they need, whether it be internet, computers. So my mind has pretty much been in that area as well, especially with schools, education, because the future, that's our future,
I,
and
I agree with you. I also believe that for any transformation to happen, it's going to start off messy. Okay.
yes,
Um,
yes,
so if we allow that messiness that we see and feel in the education to push us backwards to say, okay, no boy, we better not touch this. Let's go back to what we're used to. We're going to have the same problem again uh, months from here. And so I don't mind the messiness. When I wrote my first book, Your Child Can Become Wealthy, there's a quote that I love, and it says, everything looks like a failure in the middle, right? And if you look at it, this is we're in the middle of this transition, and it
Hmm.
looks like we're failing, especially in that education arena. But
Yes.
if we keep moving, if we keep saying, how can we fix this? How can we continue to evolve? And we allow this uncomfortable time to push us forward, then a month from now, 2 months, 6 months from now, we're going to get past it. And I truly believe, and I'm an education girl, the kids are not going to die. They really won't.
This is true.
I
This
say
is
that to
true.
my daughter all the time. They really won't. I've taken my daughter out of school when she was in high school many times, and I'm like, you ain't gonna die. This is more important right now. And that's just how life is.
Yes, yes, yes. It's something, Keshelle, but I like what you said about, not rushing ourselves out of this right now and just really taking our time to reset. I think the word for the season is really resetting, because the world
Mhm.
is resetting. And so
Mhm.
we have to be prepared for that. And like you say, when you go to these other countries, you don't have to tow long lines. But then when you come back home, you're like, oh boy, it's like, it's like a different. It's like, and I know what you're talking about.
I go into mild depressions a lot of time when I come back home. I love my country, but when I go and I see how things operate, and I come back and I'm like, oh,
I
we still
know.
doing it this way. It's
Yes,
And so that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing evolve.
yes. And Keisha, just a funny thing. For some time now, I've not. You can never find cash in my wallet. I've been traveling just with cards for a very long time. And I remember one day my dad was like, "Do you have like $10 on you? Quickly, I need to pass." And I was like, "No." And every time he comes, I don't have the money. So I was like,
Yeah.
I just don't keep cash on me anymore. I prefer to swipe a card. That's just
I'm the
my
same
thing.
way. I get
Yeah.
roused with my husband all the time. You don't have any cash? I'm like, I'm not. I don't want to hold cash when I travel. I don't. I could pay for anything with my card.
With
Why
your
do I have to
card.
come back home and be told in a store we don't take cards? Why?
This is something. So, Keisha, I want to get into the good stuff. I want to
Yeah.
get into this faith story that you've never publicly spoke about, and I gather that's why we are being fought on this live, because I know that you're very open and very transparent with your journey to boost the faith of other people. But tonight, I'm very excited to hear about this crazy faith move you took that you've never spoken about. So, take us on that journey with you.
So it's so ironic. I've never said this publicly, but the end of last year, I have a group that I mentor called Make. It's a group of students, and it was about maybe 7, 10 people in this small group, and I started to share. And again, it wasn't something that I planned, but I realized based on the teaching that I was giving them, they needed to hear some of the crazy things that I would have done to build my business. Because again, we see the end result. We
Yes.
don't see the middle. We don't see the messy middle. We don't see the fearful middle, the scary middle.
Hmm.
And so I shared that. And at the end of it, we did not go back to the training because that just opened so many doors. And so back to that, and it started really from that same $700 decision, right? So I always say that there's chapters to that first decision. There's
Yes.
before, during, and then is after. And so I don't know. I sent you a picture. I don't know if you had an opportunity to share it with Christoph, but the picture that I shared was so yeah. So I'm going to start from here because it's a long story, and I don't want to get to all of the pieces. But to continue from this story, I went away $700, went to meet Sharon Lecter, and that was a 3 day experience for 50 entrepreneurs and all over the world. And what she did was literally opened her Rolodex to us. So again, Sharon Lecter is the co-author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you don't know that book, you have to read it. I think it's 14 million copies sold around the world. And so she opened her Rolodex to us, and she invited at least 10 of her $1 million and billion dollar friends. Okay, so this was a private meet up 50 entrepreneurs and all of her $1 million friends, and we had an opportunity to just connect with all weekend. And she took us to houses and all of that stuff. She really gave us that luxury experience. And there was one gentleman that I connected with, and his name, well, I won't give the name, but
Yes.
he was the only billionaire in the room. He was the only billionaire in the room. And I connected with him because one, he was a tech investor.
Mm.
I have an investment company, right, that I started several years ago. He's a tech investor. Anyone knows me, I'm a techie. I'm a tech geek.
Yes.
Um, and I just related to what he talked about. And so we had the opportunity again to meet with everyone. And whenever I travel to conferences, I never travel and go away right immediately. I always stay a few more days. And again, I went away with $700, so that was really enough for ticket, and then I managed to get the room covered. And
Yes.
there was really nothing else that I had extra monies on me to do. Everything else was covered. But the opportunity came the day after the conference. And again, this is a long story, so I'm going to condense it. The opportunity came the day after the conference to meet with this gentleman in his home. Okay, so he
Wow.
invited me, again, the only billionaire. He invited me to his home. I was in the hotel, he invited me to his home. And I said, sure. Okay, now listen, I don't have the money. I called an Uber. This is $1 million area. So it's in Arizona. I called an Uber. I'm thinking that an Uber will be a couple of dollars. The Uber was almost $100 because a town car picked me up. And I'm like, that is literally all of the money, extra money I have in my pocket. So I had another faith decision. Do I cancel this or do I go knowing that I do not have the money to get back? Are you listening? Are you following? So I went
Wow.
because it was like, keep my money, stay in the hotel, lose an opportunity to meet this gentleman, to sit under his feet and learn some things that perhaps I wouldn't have ever had an opportunity to learn. Anyway, I made the decision. It was about a 30-minute drive. I went to his house, and he lives in an air park. Kiki, I call you Kiki. I don't know you as Kriba.
Yes.
So he lives in an air park. And I didn't know what an air park was at the time. And perhaps many of you may not know what an air park is. An air park is people who live in who have airports in their backyard. So they have planes in their backyards. Okay, so this is how wealthy he is. Okay, so as if we're going to, like how we go to the airport, we go to his house, and he lives in the airport, right? And I'm like, okay. So the Uber driver dropped me off. I'm here. I'm talking to this gentleman. Went into his office, met his wife, met his dog, and we sat down for 2 hours. And he taught me some things in business that to this day I have never forgotten, and I still refer to today. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, boy, how do I get back home? How do I get
Right.
back home? I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm building a relationship. He's telling me, some really insightful things. And I'm like, how do I get back home? I'm like, okay. So anyway, I asked to use the bathroom. I went to use the bathroom. And in his bathroom was a book on faith. I tell you the truth.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, I started to feel, okay, God, that's a sign.
Right.
Went to sit down, and he said, let me show you something. And we went from his office 5-10 steps away. It was what I thought was a closet door, but it was really his garage with that plane in it.
Right.
Okay, so again, he has a
Wow.
plane in his backyard, and his neighbors all do. So he took a picture with the plane, and he said, okay, you want to go for a drive?
Oh,
So in the plane, he opens his garage door, and literally the runway is there. And so yeah, as he opened at the runway, and he took me in the plane, he took me and
Wow.
not we were on the runway, and he was showing me all of his friends who, he has one plane, his friends has two planes, this one has a plane and a fighter jet, and we're just talking about wealth and faith and gratefulness and all of that stuff. He showed me his friend who was taking off to go somewhere in the world on his plane. So as we thinking of cars, they're thinking of they travel by plane.
Yes.
And again, I'm enjoying this. I'm taking this all in. And at that moment, I remember Pastor Miles talk about, you will always see a glimpse of your future. And I felt like, boy, you know what, God, you have me here to see a glimpse of what my future could look like, right? And again, I'm taking this in, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, how in God's name am I getting home? Right? Have no money. And so once we came through that process, we went to sit back down. He's like, you know what? Let me take you to a company that he founded, which was Infusionsoft. Many of you heard me talk about it from a business standpoint. It's a company I love. He's one of the initial investors there. And so he took me literally to the company to take a tour. Okay. So I'm like, okay, all right. I still don't know how I get home, but he said, I'm excited. Went to take a tour. He took me a tour, I got to meet the CEOs of the company, and then he left me there with two people I had known through that company previously. And so he left, we took some pictures. We had great conversations, and that was it. Now I'm at Infusionsoft talking to the guys, doing the tour, talking about business, and I'm still thinking, how am I getting home? I am too ashamed to ask anyone to drop
Right.
me home. And all of this time I'm talking to God, I'm like, God, you got to work this out.
Yes.
Because you bring me here, and people know me, and I always say I have this conversation with God, and I say to God, God, you must know why you sent me this way. And so I'm like, God, you bring me here, I don't know. So I'm battling with myself whether I should ask for a ride, all of this stuff. And then after we sit down and we talk, Matt, I never forgot him because we're still friends to this day. He said, you know what? Where you staying? Let me drop you home. But before I drop you home, let me take you to lunch. And I played it off.
Keshelle, I'm still laughing because I'm trying to figure out how you get home. So you just, that's why I'm laughing.
I played it off like, yeah, okay, you could drop me on. But I am back in my mind, I'm like, God, I thank you.
Yes.
Because I didn't even have to ask. I said it's God, it's that faith that, okay, God, I took this step. I went out on faith. It was crazy for some, but you were with me all the way
All the way.
because I made the decision in faith to go. And he ended up taking me for lunch, and he drove me all the way back to my hotel. And I went back, and I remember leaving the car, going back to the hotel, and so shaken up by what had just happened. And when I walked in, I was about to go up to my room, and I saw some other friends who were in the conference. And then Sharon Lecter, she came and she pulled up probably about 30 minutes afterwards, and she said, who was left at the hotel? Because remember now, the conference is already done. Who was
Yes.
left at the hotel? Whoever is left, I have a Jeep. Come, let's jump in my Jeep and let me take you to my house. And we had dinner that night before I went to the hotel, before I went to the airport. And there's more to the story, but I'll stop there. Because for me, that was one of those times where I'm like, Keshelle, did I do the wrong thing? Was I too crazy in this movement? But I truly believe God knows his children,
Yes.
and he knows that what my purpose, my mission is in life. He knows that, I know that he's there to protect. And I knew that when I talk about faith, I knew in my spirit that I needed to take that choice. Although
Yeah.
I didn't know what the end result was, I'm very intuitive. I'm very I listened to my spirit, my heart, my gut, whatever
Yes,
you call it.
yes, yes.
And I knew that although I didn't know what the next step was, I didn't know how I would get back. I didn't know anything. I just knew that God said, you need to go. You need to spend that and go. And he
Wow.
drove. And I always remember Dr. Miles would always say, God has a reputation to uphold.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Those who rely on faith, um, we and who call on his name, it's like kids. Kids, they rely on their parents and they put
Parents,
so much
correct.
faith in their parents. And as a parent,
Correct.
it's our responsibility to live up to that reputation of us being a parent.
You're right.
And so I always remember that. And I said, God, you must know how you're going to get me out of this. And he showed up. And of course, again, there are other pieces to the story because I ended up having to travel. I had to catch an Uber from Sharon Lecter's home to the airport. Again, didn't have any money. I think I had $10 left on me. And I ended up giving him the $10, the driver. It was way more than $10. I can't remember how that conversation went. Then I had a overloaded bag. And
Oh my God. Keshelle.
you know what happens to an overloaded bag. Now, how did I have an overloaded bag? It wasn't that I went shopping because I didn't have money to go shopping. My entire suitcase was filled with books that came from
Books.
all of the attendees. The attendees were authors, the speakers were authors, and they came with free books. So I literally had a suitcase filled with books. I
And
had
just
a
in case,
wallet.
and just in case nobody knows, Keshelle is a bookworm. I mean, when
Listen,
I knew Keshelle,
I
the
am
first
not
thing
going to throw
Keshelle
away the
will
book.
do is offer you a book to read.
Oh
Okay?
yeah. So books to me, that's they valuable to me. I
Yes.
had a wallet that was empty, that didn't have money in it, but had I had a stock full of business cards, connections with people literally all over the world and
Yes.
multimillionaires from that one weekend. And so I didn't have money, but I had access and contacts. I didn't have money, but I had knowledge to take me to the
Yes.
next level. I
Wow.
didn't have money, but I had inspiration. I had a greater vision. I had everything else except money. And I want to say this, a lot of people allow money to stop them from going
Yes.
after their dreams. If you wait for the money to come next year, the same time, I will see you at the same place. It doesn't happen that way. It's a test of faith, and God is waiting on you whether you're going to take that step in His name, right?
Yes.
It wasn't in my name. It wasn't in my, it wasn't for my glory. It's for His glory.
Amen.
And take that step in faith. And He proved that if you take the step in faith, He's going to show up. I'll wrap the story up this way. Of course, I had to pay extra to get on the plane. I didn't have the money, and I'm like, buddy, what do I do again? And I promise you, I ended up trying to get some money. I tried to call. This is late at night. Everyone is sleeping. Try to get them to send some money on my card and all of that stuff. And all of a sudden, the flight attendant came back to me. So this time I'm sitting down on the side trying to figure out what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to miss my flight because they say I need to, pay. And the flight attendant came over and she said, "Come with me." And she spoke to her book. She was, serving me. And she felt that I was distressed. She saw that I was distressed and she said, "I spoke to my boss and we're going to let you on."
Oh
And I
my
said, "Okay,
God.
thank you." Now, the name of that attendant, I promise you, her name was Glory.
Oh, say that again, Keshelle.
I promise you, her name was Gloria. Gloria.
Right.
And when I looked at it, I'm like, God, okay. For me, that was another sign
Yes.
of God, you are with me throughout this entire process. And I ended up coming home and And I did not share that story with anyone until, again, like I said, end of last year, I had a small group and I shared that. But it was just one of those moments that proved that if you take those steps in faith in the direction of the vision, and remember, the vision is what God gives you.
Yes.
Okay. So you have to rely on the vision giver to see you through. And that's exactly what I did. And so, and since then, of course, since then, I've been able to leverage that moment of time, and people then saw me going global, right? People then saw me speaking on this podcast, traveling to speak here, bringing in international guests. Where did they come from? They came from that initial moment where 50 entrepreneurs came around the table to really spend time with each other. And that's how my name started to get go around the world.
Yes, yes. Keshelle, just one moment. If anyone have any questions for Keshelle, because I'm sure that you are having questions right now, because I'm sure someone on the live stream is probably contemplating. And I'm saying contemplating because faith moves aren't, I saw some of the other people's, like, they say just have faith, but, on the side of faith, there's fear. There's a thin line between faith and fear, or faith and doubt,
Yeah,
because you're saying, am I making the right move? What's gonna come out of this? And so at the end of the day, their faith is shaken. And like
yeah.
you said, if you move in faith in his name, then God is gonna see to it that you get through. Because Keshelle, like, you came back with no money, but you came back wealthier than you went before.
So much wealthier. I always tell people, the deposit I tell people is after that weekend, when I thought I had a big vision, my vision tripled because I was in a concentrated place for 3 days with with wealthy minded people and wealthy
Right.
people. Again, we're talking about millionaires and billionaires, me sitting under these people. The vision that I thought was big was a drop in the bucket. And so I
You
remember
right.
coming back and sitting on the beach one Sunday after that weekend, and I just started to write again because I had to really expand the vision that I thought I had since that weekend. And again, coming out of that, I built relationships literally with people around the world. My second book, um, Manifest Your Dreams, was a collaboration that came from the five of the entrepreneurs in that group. And I can go on and on and on about the opportunities that came. So imagine if I didn't take that faith walk.
You right. You right. Wow, Keshelle, that is, and for me personally, Keshelle, with working in the family business and having such a high top position, there's so much going on. But then at the end, like, my thing has been, God, is this where I'm supposed to be, or is there something else that I should be doing? And in this season right now of stillness, I'm basically taking advantage of the ministry, the vision
Mhm.
that God has given me, because I literally had no time. And I just kept hearing the Lord said, okay, I've given you this time now. So now I
Mhm.
need you to get these things done. And so I don't know about you, but I'm not really sleeping. Sometimes I go to bed 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm 4 a.m. in the morning. I'm just going to bed, you
Yeah.
know because your
Yeah.
mind is your mind is between
It's
prayer and
functioning.
your mind just going. There's always
Yeah.
something to do, and there's
Yeah.
always something to think about, you know what I mean, because you want to be prepared. You don't want to be caught
Mhm.
off guard. You want to be prepared. Go on, Keshelle.
This is one of the most exciting times for me in my business. I am so much in this expansion mode now in my business during because of COVID that I am honestly I'm a little happy that we have a little bit another month because I
Yes.
I mean it may not help other people who are really not seeing the opportunity like I'm seeing it, but I'm really, the opportunity is just tremendous right now, and I am have been with my head down ensuring I've made the greatest investment in my business since COVID. Biggest
Wow.
investment in my business. I've upgraded my systems. I'm adding new team members. I'm not wasting time, right?
Wow.
And when
Wow.
you talk about sleep, I have to force myself to sleep because I believe in self care, but I have to force myself to shut off because the opportunity is so great.
Yeah.
And so, I want you to look at it. How can I set myself up for the opportunities that are coming up and out of this? And one of the comments I saw about faith and fear, fear will always show up. Okay.
Always.
Fear is an emotion. That's an emotion. It's what you choose when you are faced with those fear and faith. I made a decision again last month, big investment in my business. So I did a launch that generated a lot of money in the last few months. And then I took that money and I invested it back into my business. Huge investment. And I was afraid. I was afraid because I'm like, okay, I got the cash. Okay. And you now telling me in order to get to the next level, I need to invest this again. I won't hold on to this because who knows what the economy will bring. And so I was
Yeah.
faced with that. And I'm always reminded what God did it before, he
He
can
will
do it
do it
again,
again. That's right. That's right.
right? And then I had a conversation with my husband, and he was like, he reminded me of those moments, those times when I traveled without money and how it worked out. So his recommendation to me was act like the same faith that you had when you did not have much. Now that you have much,
That's right.
act the same way because now you have a next level to get to.
Yes. Yes. That is
And I
powerful.
made the choice and I made the investment. And so I promise you, when I tell people y'all ain't see nothing from Keshelle yet.
Amen,
Because
Keshelle. Hey, I
it's
hear
always the
you.
next level. It's always
Yes.
the next level. And so
Yes.
when you have that decision between faith and fear, you think about your future. So because fear is present tense, you think about your vision and you make a decision to choose faith.
Oh my God. Keshelle, there's a question here for you. Irene is asking, are you still in contact with that billionaire?
No, I haven't spoken to him. The year returning from that trip, we had conversations and we were back and forth, but it's been now about 5, 6 years. I haven't spoken to him since that first year, right? But I know, I mean, as far as access, I still have his contact information and all of that. I know how to find him, but I've not spoken to him since.
Not since.
But
Keshelle, while I have you
the
here, oh,
lessons
go
that
ahead.
I got from that conversation, I still refer to this very day. Like it literally changed the way I thought about certain things in my business.
Do you believe, Keshelle, that we have encounters with angels?
Mhm.
And, I believe that that billionaire happened to be an angel.
I believe so.
And yeah, the flight attendant, like you interacted with many angels because the fact that Rain asked you, are you still in contact? You have the contact, but there's not been any, conversing or anything. But for that set time, he's downloaded so many nuggets and faith. And you walked in the bathroom to see a book on faith.
That was such a peaceful moment. I'm like, this man is a Christian.
Yes.
He's a Christian, and it was so evident, right? I didn't have to go into the bathroom and see that book. You know what I mean? It was just those,
Wow.
to me, those signs that God gave me to say, I am here. I am with
Yes.
you.
Yes, yes, yes. Keisha, while you are here, before our time run out, I got to get you to talk about one of your babies, which is the dream board, and the importance of people creating their vision boards and dream boards, even now in this climate, and the importance of it. Could you share a little light on the importance of a dream board and why
Yeah.
now?
The single greatest opportunity that we have in the time that we have right now is to revision, to take a look at our vision, to recast it, to reimagine it, to rethink. Because again, so much things in the world has changed. And so if you have a vision or vision board for 2010 now is the time to look at that again. My husband and I actually were talking about that just last night. Now is the time to look at it again and see what needs to shift, or
Yeah,
to remind you of what your vision still is. If you don't have a vision board, it's the time now to sit down for even 30 minutes and ask yourself, what do I want? Right? Ask yourself, what do I want out of life? What do I want now? Now that things have shifted, now that things are in a new perspective with people, what do I want right now? And that's something that no matter who you are, no matter what level you are, you should be doing that. I sat in the last 2 days. I was supposed to be in Canada. uh,
yes.
anyway, that's one thing I did not like about COVID. Just cancel all my plans for you. But anyway,
Oh, talk about it.
I
Yes.
was I was supposed to be in Canada because every quarter I do a quarterly retreat with my global mastermind group. And so these 2 days we were on a retreat. 35 women from literally all over the world. Um, and one of the things that we did today was that same thing. What do you want it was just a reminder to us to look a year out, which
Yes.
is what I do in the dream board process, right? Look a year out. Yes, you planned for 90 days, and that's what we did, or looked at our plans for 90 days. But reminding yourself, you know what? 1 year from now, where would I want to be? What is my end game a year from now? And what it does is gives you that energy. It gives you that ability to focus not on the short term, not what's happening right now, but on the long term. Because
Yes.
what we don't know when this will end, but what we know for sure is that it will end.
That's right.
It will end, right? Where however long it takes, it will end. And so if you're focusing on the short term and neglecting your future, the long term, where you see yourself coming out of this, again, you are missing an opportunity. So I want to challenge you to relook at your vision, or to create a new vision if you have to at this time, because it's the opportunity is just right.
Wow. Oh, so Irene said she just looked at her vision board this morning. So did I. I took a look at mine about a week ago, and I was looking to see what are the things that has already come to pass. And sometimes when you don't look at it every day or every week, because sometimes we go absent and we don't take a look at it, and you go
Mhm.
back to it, you would realize that something has already happened and you did not
Yeah,
even realize that it happened.
exactly. And that's how it works.
Yeah, and so I'm sitting down and I'm like, oh, I gotta add some more things to this vision board because that ain't enough. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's not enough. And then I had an opportunity of just creating a small one for the business. And we want to do a bigger one. That's when I was gonna bring you in because we want
Hmm.
to do one that's really big. We want to put our thought process together. And like right now, this is calling for it because everyone is going digital. That is definitely the era that we are moving into in all businesses. Life is not going to be the same. A lot of people believe that when we come out of this, we're just going to end up right back from where we started off. And I don't want to give anyone false hope, but that's not the reality. It's
That's
not
not
the
gonna
reality.
happen.
Could you shed some light on that as well, Keshelle?
There's no going back. Full stop. There's no going back. There's no back to go to. I spoke to the one of the executives of the Human Resource Association, and he gave me the statistic of 30,000. Of course, it's more perhaps, but 30. Heading all of the HR associations, 30,000 people out of a job. And the reality is, and this is what was said in the conversation, how many of them won't be rehired, right? Many of them won't. It's sad, but they won't. And so for many people, there's no going back. having that vision, having that plan, having someone to kind of help you. Let me say that as well. You may not be able to revision by yourself, because you may be just consumed with short term, and that's normal. That's completely normal. And so I want to challenge you to go and find someone who you can speak to help open those periods of inspiration again, so you can look at what is the future for you, your business, your life, your family, all of that stuff as well, right? I see the screen is up. I'm doing a
Yes.
workshop talking
Yes.
about getting online. And so, my company, we provide workshops, trainings, in a lot of various capacities. So the one that we're focusing on now is getting businesses, getting individuals who perhaps one day want to get into business to think about and create the online systems, the online strategies to take advantage of what's coming down the pipeline. Okay, and I have a current cohort of students in the program now, and who's going through this. And we are halfway through, and the students are not only generating leads in their business, they're making money, and they're making money online that 6 weeks ago they didn't even have a platform
Wow.
to use. And so it's taking advantage of the opportunity right now, while we're still in lockdown, while we're still in the early stages of this shift, to position yourself and to build the capacity for you to be able to take advantage of the opportunities.
And that is this program that's on the screen. This is what you're offering now. That is jump starting people into this.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the free workshop, I'll be pretty much showing them what they can do, what's possible, right? And so I will be teaching them a series of tips and strategies that they can take advantage of right away. And if you want the website link, it's www.keshelledavis.com/get online now. So if they go there, they can register, and we'll take them through the free workshop. You can take everything that I teach in that free workshop and you can run with it. And I've had students who did that, and they've been crushing it. For those persons after the free workshop who say, I want to continue on, I want to build this, I want to go deeper in this topic, I opened a program called the Online Business Lab that will help people to go deeper into what you would cover in the free workshop.
Wow. I think I'm going to be signing up for this, Keshelle. I think you had one. This is not the first one. There
Yes,
was
this is
one,
the
right? There
second.
was one that I think Keisha was trying to get into, but she was unable to get in for some reason. She kept telling me she
Mhm.
was not able to get in. So I'm happy this is back up again. So probably she and I will sit down and actually come into this online program so that we can see, what it is and to plan ahead. Because like I say, everybody got to think differently now.
Yeah.
Even though our business is one that is what do you call it again? Necessity or what? I'm running out of words. Forgive me, but we understand too. Essential. We understand too that somewhere down the line, it's already began to happen. It's happened a long time ago in our industry, but it's more so now. You're seeing computers doing things that humans don't have to do. All right, and
Every
so I think
single
that.
business can digitize in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know about you people online, but I think that this is a good opportunity to grasp onto. And Keshelle is saying that she also has, if you want to go deeper, there's another opportunity that she offers, I guess, at the end of the free workshop. Keshelle, talk a little bit about your coaching. Are you still coaching?
I am only coaching students now that are in my programs,
Mm. Okay.
because my schedule has gotten full, and my corporate clients, even in this shift, many of my corporate clients we've shifted to online teaching. I made the decision that I will only coach someone who have gone through one of my programs, whether it be right now it's the Online Business Lab. I have other programs, Make It Real. We talk about that, as well as my high level year-long coaching program called the Boardroom. They're the only people I am coaching right now, people in one or more of those programs.
Okay, so you're not taking on new
No,
people right now.
not right now. Yeah, you have to. Now, in my programs, you have the opportunity to book one-on-one sessions with me. I do group coachings literally every week,
Okay.
multiple times a week. And so they get a lot. I pour a lot into my students. And anyone I work with, they can tell you that I pour a lot into them. And I believe for me, in order to give them the real transformation they desire, I would like for it to come through a combination of teaching in my programs and coaching on top of it. And that's why I made that decision.
Yes. Thank you, Rain. Rain is telling me essential workers. Yes, I literally could not get the word out. And I'm an essential worker. I'm just full because I'm just listening to I'm just like, this is different. This is totally different from the dream board. And just listening to it, Keisha, like I am blown away by that 700. So you told me a little bit about it, Keisha. I knew about the crazy 700 move, but I didn't know what happened in that 700 move. I only knew about the lady, Sharon.
And Kiki, there are so many stories, so many more stories like that in my business. And how I look at it is this: every time I decide to take another level up in my business, I'm faced with those decisions, right?
Wow.
In 2018, I was faced with another one of those decisions where I was ready to move to the next level. And I was faced with a $15,000 investment opportunity to invest in a coach. Biggest investment ever in my business at that time. Of course, I made another big one a few weeks ago. Uh,
Right.
and for that time, $15,000, I didn't have that money sitting there. We had to make a deposit to save our seat. And so I'll share this quick story and just to give you another one. And I have these all through my life. So I need to write a third book. But
Yes.
so let me share this one quickly. It's not as long. So I made a $500 deposit, and we had to make, I think, a $2,500 deposit within 7 days for that first payment, right? And I'm like, okay, I don't have that sitting around. Business is going good, but I'm constantly reinvesting in my business. I don't have that. But I knew, again, back to that that intuition, I knew that this was my next level. I
Mhm.
made the decision and I paid the deposit, and I'm like, okay, I don't know where this. And here's the thing: that was November, December. And so my business, my corporate business, really is quite quiet in December because corporate clients are not doing training. And so I'm like, okay, I don't know where the revenue is coming from, but in faith, I'm in. Okay,
Yes.
I'm in. And I remember, I remember saying, okay, let's see where this money will come from. I came home this was at a conference when I made that investment. I came home that Wednesday, and I never forgot that. This was December now. I never forgot. I came home off the plane that Wednesday and I got a call. I'm like, who is this calling me? Because again, everything is quiet. My business kind of just started to quiet down. I'm preparing for Christmas. I'm like, who is this calling me? I just come back. I don't want to talk to anyone. I really
Right.
just want to go home and just relax and get settled back in. It was a client. And it was a client who said, Keshelle, I need you to train my staff like yesterday. Now, this is December. I do no training in
In
December,
December, correct.
right? I need you to train my staff like yesterday. How much would it cost and how soon can you do it? And I'm like, okay, God, this is you again. And so I said to him, here's what I did. I said, you know what, Chris? I said, Chris, if you can get me a check for $2,500 by Wednesday. I think it was, I had like, by that time I had like a couple more days left
Hmm.
to make this payment, or I wouldn't have been in the program. I said, you can get me a check for $2,500. Now, my price is way more than that for what he wanted. But I said, if you can get me a check for $2,500 by this date, I will give it to you for that. I will give it to you, but for $2,500. And I promise you, I had that check. I sent that payment off. And I've been in the program a year, and that has almost allowed me to double the revenue that I did. That one investment in my business. If I
Wow.
needed to have the money, I would have lost the opportunity, and I wouldn't have been where I'm at today. I made the decision in faith. The money came out of nowhere. I mean, it wasn't out of nowhere. God knew again. I
He
made the
created
decision.
the opportunity.
He created the
Yes.
opportunity. And
Yes.
I've done that every single time I wanted to move up in my business.
Keisha, that is, and that's when you know it's God. That's when you know it's God because He'll make the provisions for the vision. And I saw someone said it in here as well that Apostle Ben spoke about that. That actually today, that if God gives you the vision, He will make the provision, and that is true. That is something that getting married to my husband. I remember that was one of the things that I began to question too. Is this the one for me? And I remember my bishop saying to me that, if it's the will of God, if God gives you this vision to marry this man, if he's saying that he will make the provision, and he did that. And I've been seeing the same things. Like even with the platform Faith Talk, God told me to go on and begin to talk, Keshelle. And I went on and I began to talk. I started off with a cell phone in my hand in the
Yeah.
bedroom with a bonnet on my head, no makeup, just a cell phone and holding my baby in my hand and just talking. And it
Wow.
went from that, and I didn't even know when it changed. I didn't even know when I had a beautician on set. I didn't know when I had Christoph on set. I didn't know when I had a makeup artist. I didn't know. But
Yeah.
God was making the provisions for this vision that He's given me.
And you
And
had to start first.
I had to start first. And like you say, starting off may appear messy because I'll tell you, seeing me in that state, that's not Kiki. Like I like to be fixed. I don't want to come out and and that was very uncomfortable. But I bless God today for it because the platform has blessed so many lives, and that's what's important.
Yeah.
God is being glorified in all of it. And so, I pray that someone has been inspired by this tonight, Keshelle. And I know you could go on. Someone is saying Rain again. Say, yes, you need to write that third book. I mean, y'all don't know Keshelle. Me and Keshelle probably could go on for about 2-3 hours
Yeah.
because Keshelle has a lot to say. And that is why I was sharing Keshelle too with someone about the dream board party and
Mm.
why I believe that you do so many dream boards, but I just feel I may be a little biased that my dream boards just have a different kick to it.
You do. It's
Yeah,
you're not biased. That's the truth.
I feel like it has a different kick to it, and I believe that because the both of us we are carrying the same passion and purpose and vision inside, and the one thing is faith. The common thing is faith. We
Yeah.
believe. And to believe with people is very, very important. That's how things begin to manifest itself. And so I don't want to sound biased, but I just have to throw that out there.
It's the
I don't
truth.
know. I don't know what's gonna happen this year, Keshelle, because someone had asked me about it, and I said, we will move with the times. I don't want to give up on what God has placed before me to do along with you. And even if we have to do it by virtual, something will take place because it doesn't mean that it has to end because we cannot be in a room together. So at the end of the day, whatever He has given me, it will still go forth. Because you
Yeah.
see what happened last year, Keshelle. That was crazy, crazy for me too. Like
Yeah.
that.
We live in a digital era. I have sat on so many digital events that, again, I typically go on a plane monthly or every other month to some conference or the other, and every last one of them except one has converted to a digital platform. And to be honest with you, the experience is there because it's really the connection between the people.
Yes, yes,
and,
yes.
and that energy can, once it's managed right, once it's done correctly, and I've seen where it's done correctly, you can have the same connection. I was sitting on a call with 35 women, people as far as Sweden and London and Australia, and we were crying. I mean, it was, there's no limit to that human connection, whether it's live. Yes, we want that live connection, but a digital platform, if that's the case, I think will be just as impactful.
Just as good. I was just asked about it yesterday, Keshelle. Just asked about it yesterday. And because I closed off the session last year because I didn't want. I remember you saying to me, Kiki, let's reach as much people as we can. But last year was kind of shaky because I had to switch venues. And I
Hmm.
remember one of the team members saying to me that you might as well have continued selling tickets because we moved to a bigger space. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was different. And I realized that God will
Also,
stretch you. He will stretch you when you don't think you should be stretched. Because I
exactly.
was in my comfort zone being at home, and now he's like, no, no, no. And like you say, with the quote that Dr. Miles say, he shows you.
Shows
He
you a glimpse of your
shows.
future.
Yes, yes. So I know that this year, however we have to do it, it's gonna be powerful. So Keshelle, while we close out, I want you to leave us with some faith nuggets in your closing remarks for all of our viewers here this evening.
Now, I would just say to people that if they are in the valley of decision with what they will do with their life, their career, their business, their family, their finances, whatever they're faced with at this time, choose faith. You
Yes.
may not look, you may not know what will result at the end, but once you make a decision in faith, in God, all right, faith is a belief in yourself and a belief in the person, the,
Yes.
your creator who gave you that vision in the first place. Uh,
Yes.
Choose faith and trust that whatever decision you make will work out. If you decide to stay in fear, you will stay stuck. And it's really boils down to that. Make a decision, choose faith, and speak to someone who you know is faith filled. If you have to, rely on their faith, pull on their faith if your faith is low. And faith is a muscle. I didn't say that earlier, but it really is.
It
Right? It's
is.
a you in order to me, I do crazy things now because I started doing small things at the beginning. So you have to just start making a decision in faith and continuing to grow from there. And if you need to reach out to me, I'm doing
Yes.
as time go on, I will be doing my Make It Real program again, which has an entire training on faith. So if you want to be on the wait list for when that happens, you can reach out to me at support@KeshelleDavis.com, or send me a WhatsApp message, 818-3482, and I will make sure get you on the wait list so you'll know when that program is happening.
Or I don't know if Christoph can put it up on the screen, but if Christoph could, I know for sure I'm going to put it in the comment area on this live for people that will come in later to watch the session. All of Keshelle's contacts, you can find her on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. She's very consistent. You will see her posting things, new updates, and even her website, correct. We're going to put
Mhm.
all of that stuff up so that you can be in contact with Keshelle. Trust me, I am happy that I know Keshelle, and I can tell you, the beauty of this is knowing Keshelle from the very beginning. That's enough. Like, Keshelle was always, and one of the things with Keshelle, I'll never forget. Keshelle always had a conference she wanted to go to, and
Always.
always, and I don't know if you remember Keshelle, but there was this book. Keshelle told me that she was reading John Maxwell, and one of my mentors had given me "Today Matters" by John Maxwell,
Hmm.
and I was interested. His books were so good, so I was like, "Keshelle, do you know of him?" And she was like, "Yeah, I listen to him all the time, in the car while I'm driving and all of that."
I
So
love
I
you.
went ahead and I was like, "Okay, let me buy this CD or whatever it is and listen to him." I could not listen. It's like his
Mhm.
voice does not feel the same way about, in the book. But I'm so intrigued by his writing. I was like,
Yes.
what is Keshelle doing? And then, Keshelle, I remember Keshelle, she's a bookworm. She came to work and a book was so thick. I think you were studying for,
The
um,
CPS at the time.
yeah. And I was like, Keshelle,
I
like, what
remember
are you
that.
doing? And it's like Keshelle never stops. Like she never stops. She's always going, going, going. So even then, and very creative. And so even then, you were seeing the future. You were seeing where Keshelle was headed. And it's so amazing, Keshelle. I mean, I'm just blessed to know that I've known you from the beginning. I've seen it, and I pray that more people hear your story. So I think you really need to write this third book, Keshelle. This
I
third
need to.
book. Yeah, you need to get into that because your life itself is faith led. Even if you didn't know back then what you were doing, you were working that
Right.
faith muscle from then, and it's still
Mhm.
happening now. So I pray that everyone on this live was blessed tonight. Like I say, me and Keshelle could go on for another hour, but both of our days were long, and we had promised that we would stay to. We did give it an extra 30 minutes. If you didn't catch the beginning of the session, please feel free to go back and watch the beginning of the session. But I want to thank you, Keshelle, so much for pouring
Thank
into
you.
us today. Hopefully, as time goes on, because Faith Life isn't going anywhere, I'll rack you up again and bring you back in to talk about some more faith
Yeah.
stories, because I am sure as time goes on, people are going to need their faith to be built.
Yeah.
And that's going to be very important with having someone. God will always use tested vessels, people that have went through the test to empower others and lift their faith. So thank you
Yeah.
so much, Keshelle. Thank
Thank
Dr. Davis
you.
for loaning you to us tonight,
I
because I
will.
know you've been in that room probably all day.
All
And
day.
so, all
All
day.
day.
And
That's the
Keshelle, I
dawn.
admire you. I'm taking something from you. I'm going to try to shut this phone off, because I know when you shut off, you shut off.
Shut off.
I don't shut off, but I'm probably going to take that tip from you tonight and shut off. It's been a really, really long day for me as well. But God bless you, Keshelle. God bless everyone. Rain says, thank you, Keshelle, and Kiki. Thank you,
Yes,
Rain.
my
It was a
sister.
pleasure
Sorry for
having.
saying publicly. She's always on the ball. She's my right hand in my business now. She makes sure all of my admin stuff. She put the email address there. So she's the one that checks that and makes sure my calendar and book my appointments and all of that stuff. So
Wow.
reach out to her when you see her. She manages my calendar.
Wow. Keisha, before you go, because I know time is going, we got to go. Is this Rain that I met from the Dream Board?
No, that's Laval. Laval is on my team as well.
That's the, that's Laval.
Yeah.
Oh, you got
Rain is
some
usually
amazing people
behind
on
the
the team,
scenes.
Keisha.
Laval is in front of the scene. So they both work with me.
And Laval was someone that placed you on
Her dream
her
board.
Dream Board.
Yes.
My God. And now she's working with you.
He's my assistant trainer.
Y'all gotta do these dream boards if y'all serious, man. Keisha got a lot of stories to tell. Y'all gotta do these dream
Planning.
boards. I mean, y'all gotta do it. All right. All right. Don't say I didn't tell you. So thank you, everyone. Thank you once again, Keisha. God bless you.
Thank
Everyone
you.
have an amazing evening. Like I say, you can watch the replay. It's gonna be uploaded. We're gonna put all of Keisha's information there. Take advantage of the courses that she's giving out. I'm definitely going to be taking advantage of it, because I need to see where we are going as well in the business. And so God bless you all. Until next week for another Faith Life session. Good evening. Good evening, Keisha.
Bye.
Thank you.